Yo guys, Gluten-Free EDC here. I'm Brian, your gluten-sensitive representative. Today I have a bit of an unboxing today. This is a really special knife from a really cool dude that I'm becoming friends with. Shout out to you. You know who you are, man. Thank you so much for hooking me up with this. This is, if you can't tell from the description or the thumbnail title, my goodness, this is a really cool knife, one of my favorite makers. Let's dive on in. Got the Petit, my buddy Ev. You know, man. Thank you for providing this awesome knife. Keeping her sharp as a razor. Alrighty. I'm just gonna quick make sure I don't have anything. Shouldn't be going to you. Alrighty. So inside there, we've got this bag. Inside the bag, we got some bubble wrap. Always good to see. Get this guy away. Oh yeah. Ooh, different sticker than I had before, actually. So yeah, David Lespect. That's what knife we're gonna be diving into. Dude that hooked me up with this one shared that he'd be sending a sticker along. I was like, oh hell yeah, can't get enough of those. So we'll put that off. I'll just leave it right there. So here, that's cool that he's got the case to protect this. Oh man, so there aren't many Lespects of this size. I have one of them, and this is another. Whoo, man, oh man. So this knife is a David Lespect folder. It is from the 2023 Blade Show in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is the new from David Lespect. One of the cool things he's been doing a lot of is this tail right here. Oh, that is gorgeous. He was more doing a rounded off tail, but now he's adding this slight curve to some of them, and my goodness, that is gorgeous. I believe the scales are spalted maple. So there is a gorgeous green, so it's dyed green, and then it looks like spots and specks of yellow all throughout. Now, spalting, I believe the process is fairly mundane. You can spalt wood by leaving it out with some level of moisture. I believe what's happening, it's either fungus or mold that gets in there, and it messes with the wood grain. So this is not necessarily on the tree that it gets spalted, unlike with burl, where I believe that's some sort of process while the tree is living. Gorgeous, gorgeous. My goodness, the grain pattern in this stuff is so cool. This guy is tiny too. Oh, it's so cool. Got some wear and tear. Looks like darkened tie. Pretty cool. So the hardware looks like it's darkened tie as well. It's left with the ring around it. That's pretty neat. Hidden pivot, such is typical. The shadow boxing on this knife. So shadow boxing is where the liner actually reaches out past the scale, so you can see the liner under there. That is typical of the liner locks that David is making. The hidden pivot, really cool. Not all of his folders have hidden pivots. The majority, I would say, probably do. Really cool. So let's dive on in. Actually, let's check out this backspacer. So it's really cool. What David is doing is it's scalloped. I'm trying to get that to focus better. So it's scalloped, right? So it's concave, rounded off the backspacer. You go here, and then you can see a transition right there, and it transitions to convex. Really cool. Oh, and that extra flowing line out is so cool. It just looks good. It makes it, it's a piece of art. So let's look at this ridiculous blade. Oh my god, action is fantastic. So this one is, he does a sheep's foot blade with the harpoon swedge. Really, really cool. I love the blade shape. He's known for this one. Wildly sharp, of course. So he puts a convex edge on his. So I've noticed when I strop mine, and yes, I do use my David Lespect folders to some degree, right? Varying degree depending on which one. But I have noticed it's a very, very acute angle when you're stropping, but otherwise it's super easy. Typically he'll use RWL 34. On this one, because RWL 34 is stainless, for the hamon, to achieve that, he is, I forget the steel that he's using now, but it's a carbon-based steel that allows him to differentially heat. So you have clay, so you can harden the bottom of the knife and the top of the knife different. I think really it's for the aesthetic appeal, but yeah, really cool. It can be useful for the knife because you can make it harder versus not harder depending on which way you want to go. Yeah, really cool. The wave pattern is gorgeous. David is just a master at everything with knives. But so let's check out the ergos. Yeah, of course they're amazing because it's David. So you can see with the ergos you have the typical line here, and then right about here a separate angle down. Fits the hand beautifully. David usually for me goes right around where my thumb meets my palm. That's where this break typically occurs for me. Really cool. He's got the, so you have that angle there, a single choil, and you can see it's hand milled out there. And by the way, his knives are 100% made by hand. So you got, and then this, that kind of locks you in, this little line down here, really cool. So all in all, great ergonomics, really cool. I actually love that he keeps the hardware on the outside of the clip. So in case you do need to mess with that, if you're using the clip, you can go ahead and mess with it as needed. Really cool. Man, that little line right there is cool. But the jimping on his knives is really cool. So he's got two sets of jimping. One is for the front flipping apparatus, so you can see that jimping is going to be used there. He uses a lighter detent typically, so oh my goodness, the action is just so good. But yeah, the detent is fairly light on a David Lespect knife in general, so you don't need crazy jimping. So you can see it's fairly shallow, and rather than pointed, most of that, it's coming out that the jimps themselves, I'm referring to them as jimps, they are fairly flat on top. So nothing too sharp, but just enough to work think you can probably middle finger flick this. Yep, most of them you can. Oh yeah, gorgeous. This is such a cool knife. You can see he does a detent ramp. So right here it's hitting the detent ramp and it's already broken it. So there. Man, and it glides shut. He's so good at just making everything so perfect. You can see the tolerances are wildly tight, perfectly centered. Looks like there's no side to side, no up and down. Can't break the lock, so the lock works fine. No detent lash. Yeah, really solidly built knife. So let's look at the blade again for that swedge. So you have the harpoon. He crowns the spine up here after the jimping. Right here. So it's crowned. And then you meet this swedge where it's crowned. Up here is crowned. And then you have this beautiful swedge that takes us all the way to the tip. Nice strong tip. Really, really nice. Back here, you can see the plunge grind. So the plunge grind is angled. However, there's plenty of meat to work with thanks to, I don't know if you still refer to that as a sharpening choil or edge termination. But the edge terminates fairly far in advance, so you do have pretty far to go to sharpen. Really, really nice. It's just a beautiful, beautiful knife overall. Let's go back to that clip. So the clip is milled by hand. So he's doing that. I've noticed he's gotten really good retention on these, so you can pull up, and that was my finger clicking. So the clip would probably be a little difficult to use on this one. I think it's fairly tight, but I don't plan on using the clip, admittedly. I love the slips that comes with his knives. But he does it fairly deep carry. As you can see, not much there. And yeah, it doesn't, the clip doesn't offer, or it doesn't cause a hot spot, so it's very comfortable. I don't feel the clip at all. It's just in too much meat and it doesn't stick up far enough to be an issue. So that is the David Lespect folder. Let's get some measurements on it. This is going to be a little difficult. Shoo. Hear that fire out? Okay, so we have about a just shy of 2.5 inch blade. I think we're at, if you count to here, it's 2 3/8. And then if you count to the sharpened edge, it's just over 2.5 inches. And then, yeah, so really, really small blade, really cool. Overall, you have about 6¼ inches. Really neat. So awesome size. Take a look at the slip that he does. So he does the style of slip that I prefer, actually. It's leather, it's got the suede side on the inside. Everything looks beautiful on the outside with the wax and all finish. Really tight thread going through. Folds over nice and easy to gain access. Knife goes in, provides awesome protection. Still small, light. So I prefer to carry my Lespecs, actually, is in the slip. Slips are great. The slips come by way of a maker in France, I believe. It's a friend of David's. He's been making slips for him for a while now. They're really great. I wouldn't stop. They're fantastic. It's like it's a part of getting a David Lespect folder is getting these cool slips. So, I showed you this one. This is the newest one on the lot. We're going to go in reverse. Well, first, let's compare it to a 3-inch chamois. So you can see, shorter in every respect. Obviously a lot thinner. But this is a thin knife overall, regardless. The chamois is just unbelievably thin. And we might as well show it on the clip side to get that cool little spirograph in there. And you just see, especially in comparison to the chamois, he's really going heavy on the ergonomics. David Lespect has the best ergos out there. They're so good. Okay, now I'm going to show some other bonus David Lespect folders. So I'll show them in reverse order of how I received them. So you'll be seeing videos on all of these. This is a 2022 Blade Show frame lock David Lespect. So you can see he does do pivots. And when he does them custom every time. After that came this mini, which is actually, I believe this one seems a little bit bigger. So this is real tiny. This is so awesome. Then I'm gonna have to throw this one up here. See if I can fit that one there too. That was a 2022 Blade Show as well. And then this one was 2022 Blade Show. This one I actually picked up personally. This was an auction win. You can see, so some of his liners do have the pivots. We'll go into more detail in their own videos. And then last but not least, my first custom knife. One in ironwood, really cool. So yeah, I think overall it seems that he's continuing to kind of blow my mind. The design is always there. You can see the design really changes from knife to knife. Every single one is a one-off from David. The man is a master artist. He draws it up, builds that knife, goes with the flow, it seems. Whatever he's kind of thinking or feeling, that's what he's gonna make. And at the end of the day, you get a one-of-a-kind, gorgeous, hard, like, it is a very hard, well-built, heavy-use kind of knife. Now, I don't know that anyone's really using them too hard. I'll admit, some of them are getting more hard use than not. This guy, even this guy. I'll use all of them, 100%. I definitely carry all of them. If it's what I have on me, I'm using it. The stone wash definitely helps me. But, you know, some of the knives, like, they gotta scratch. I don't mind with the David Lespects. They're just, you want to use them. You get them, you can't help it. But yeah. Glad I got to share this with you guys. I'm psyched. I'm stoked on this thing. I can't believe I'm adding this to my collection. I'm so fortunate, I know. Thank you again. You know who you are, man. I really appreciate you thinking of me, offering this to me. Epic knife. Such a cool one. Obviously, it's a good part of the family now. I am a sucker for these knives. David, if you happen to watch this, man, thank you for making these beautiful knives, man. If you haven't checked his knives out, guys, you gotta give them a shot. They're just so good. It's a perfect knife. Alright, guys. I will catch you guys later. Thanks for tagging along for this unboxing. Cheers.